Let's see what we can do to awaken the sleeping zzZ28. I have it covered with plastic because I've been doing a lot of grinding and dust generation on the old Chevy over there, the Bel Air. But yeah, this thing's been sitting since, I don't know, November, and it's April now, so we need to uncover it, fire it up, and see if it'll wake up. Let's go. So I lucked out and I found a helper to help me get the plastic off the car. The plastic, it's important to keep the clean side together and the dirty side separate. So to stretch the thing out lengthwise and fold the clean sides together and get the plastic all balled up to use it again, that's the goal, and second person makes that very feasible. So let's get the cover off this bad boy and see what surprises the winter has left us. Well, now that that's over with, let's hit it with the California car duster, because we do have a little bit of dust that permeated the cover. Maybe before I put it away. It's neither here nor there, but let's get a little cleaner, a little more dust free. The next step, of course, is to get under the hood and see what's left of things. So I leave the hood ajar because I keep a battery tender on it in the winter. We want to make sure the hood doesn't come up too high and hit the underside of the lift. Looks like we're good. We're generally good if I can center it under the lift. Of course, that's as high as the lift goes. So everything seems to be in order. I'm not going to check the fluids just yet. This thing is a bit of a leaker, so we'll see what sort of fluids it donated to the garage floor if and when we get it running. So let's unhook the battery tender. And I keep a kill switch on here, a battery disconnect switch. So let's turn those on, or turn that on. Okay, there we go. So I think we're doing okay. Let's get inside the car and see what's left of it in there. See how close to firing it up we are. Just do a quick walk around. Looks like everything's in order. Got air in the tires. Should have fuel in it from last year. Don't see any wheel chocks under it. All right, let's get in here, get the garage door open, and see if she'll fire. So this thing's an automatic, 305, 4-barrel, about 150 horse. Let's get the garage door open. All right, there we are. Car cover's in the way, but so we're going down the road. Not a big deal. All right, here we go. A couple of pumps. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this thing needs valve stem seals, so we might see a white cloud out the back when it does first start. Let's see what we do. This was last run in November or December. check for our cloud. A little bit of smoke. Don't know if that shows up on the camera. We do have our saggy headliner. All right. Give that a moment to run before we kick down the fast idle. Yeah, not seeing any more smoke out the back, so I think we're okay. Let's try and back this guy out slowly. Hang on, kick down, here we go. Still a little faster idle than I want to back up with, so give it another moment. We'll make do. Okay, here goes. Let's check both mirrors. Okay, the cord's out of the way, hood's still loose, it's on the first catch. There we go. A little bit of brake grabbing. Brake pedal feels pretty good. This thing, of course, is still licensed and insured. It's registered as an antique vehicle. So permanent registration in PA. Got a little bit of dust on the dashboard there. This is an 89,000 mile car. I think it was about 87 or 88 when we got it. 2020, my youngest son and I did a barn find on it, and I have a video of that out there somewhere. All right, let's take a look at how much fluids this thing's donated to the garage floor this season. Still idling a little faster than I want, but as they say, you can't have everything. Let's get the windows down too. It's gonna get a little bit warm in here on such a bright day. There she is. Let's take a look at our damage in here. Woo! Yeah, I'd say we need a front seal on the transmission. That piece of cardboard's a goner. The pig mats were helpful, but maybe not ideally placed. So I think that that goes in a garbage bag pretty soon. Obviously, we're gonna have to check the trans fluid. Motor oil doesn't look like we lost more than a few drops, so that's good news. First thing we're going to do is check the transmission fluid. Maybe a white shirt wasn't the best thing to wear today, but we'll soon see. I'd say it's a 1/2 to 3/4 quart low. Let's see if I'm right. Spot on. A quart would be a little too much, so I'll put in about 1/2 quart and see where we stand. Well, that sort of settles it then. I only have about a 1/2 quart in stock, so I think it's a 1/2 quart low. Yeah, there you go. Let's hopefully top this up. If not, we'll get it as close as we can. Let that run down for a while. I remember when I was a kid, my dad would take his oil cans, the quote-unquote empty oil cans, and he would line them up and cut the tops off and combine them and tip them up and drain them out to get every last drop. And damned if I don't do the same thing. Of course, now we have plastic bottles with screw caps and the like, but yeah, cheap is as cheap does. And I guess in a small way, it's less stuff going in the landfill, isn't it? Well, the white shirt's held up so far, so I can't complain about that. Although I don't have a mullet, that would be the appropriate hairstyle for this car, but my hair doesn't grow that fast these days. I'm just happy to have hair at this point. All right, well, we'll see how that does. Let's take a peek again. All right, get this sucker running again. So we're halfway into the full range. If I had 3/4 of a quart, I think we'd be right at the top of the full range. So my initial guess, you could say, was accurate. So I'll shut this down, we'll check the oil, and we'll get on with the next stages. Now for the oil. I didn't check the oil before startup because I know that it was full when we parked it, and I didn't find a puddle under the car, so I'm confident we're up at the full level. On the weekend cars, where we see only about 1,000 miles a year, I use full synthetic oil, and I change the oil about every other year. Not that the mileage dictates that, but when they tend to sit, you can get a little bit of moisture in there, especially in this wet climate. This garage I keep heated in the winter, not fully heated, but you don't get the massive temperature cycles that would cause a condensation, so I'm comfortable keeping the oil changes at that level. That, and I'm basically cheap, so there's no sense throwing away good oil just for sanity's sake. Here we go. And we are right at the full mark, and the oil's all nice and clear. And this oil change probably only has, I don't know, 100 miles on it, maybe. So coolant level looks good. In 2020, when we resurrected this thing from a barn find, we did radiator, coolant flush, all fluids, trans service, all hydraulics, fuel system. So the stuff's really 5 years old or less, and doesn't have that many miles on it. Let me get this thing buttoned up, get myself cleaned up a little bit, and we'll take it out for its inaugural ride of 2026. So if I'm gonna drive the mullet mobile properly, I need to have the T-tops out. And of course, listen on the tape deck to zzZ28. Actually, I think the tape deck needs a new belt, so we'll have to put that on hold. So the T-tops, there's this nice General Motors supplied bag to secure them so they don't come flying and decapitate you in the event of a collision. I'm just laying them here separated by some rags. Guess I'm living on the edge, eh? Yeah, getting them in and out of the bag's a little bit of a hassle, and I'm gonna be putting them back in soon. So that's how we're doing it. This car is a 1983, and with that, it has the 700R4 overdrive automatic. I believe that was the first year for it. I think the 82 Camaros came with a turbo 350. And of course, that's the source of our leaking trans fluid. It's an okay transmission, but it is a little bit higher mileage, so hence the leakage. Coincidentally, this car is very much like the first new car I was going to buy. I had an 83 Z28 all specced out. It would have been blue and a stick shift. Otherwise, it was very much this car. Similar options, same motor, etc. Didn't want to go for the fuel injection at that time. That crossfire thingy, I suspected it might be problematic, and I guess maybe I could see the future. I ended up not buying that car because I was afraid to take out the loan, so I got a used 78 Z28 at the time. And of course, that's another story, but that was not a good car. It's reasonably fast and all that, but reliable, especially as your daily, that was a bad one. Anyway, let's fire this puppy up and get going on our ride. Not a bad runner. Let's try not to remove any paint on our way out of the garage again. I needed the level surface to check the tranny fluid level. And here we are. I never did get the dust off the dashboard. And yes, my youngest son and I did fix this up as a barn find car, and ultimately it will go to him. But right now he's early in his job, living in rental space, doesn't necessarily have the storage for proper care and maintenance of this thing. So I care for it and feed it while he's off getting established, and I guess I get to use it as a side benefit. All right, well, I don't have GoPros, at least none that are set up and working, so I'm gonna have to turn off the phone before I get cited and in trouble. So here we go. Bon voyage. Of course, right next to this gas station, we have this little ice cream shop. So time for me to fuel up as well. So here's the best kept secret for things like tranny fluid. In a sense, going to an auto parts store costs you about a third as much here. So we've made it back from our inaugural ride of 2026. No issues, everything's working well. Of course, the AC is not hooked up, but don't need it yet. It's hooked up, but it needs a charge, and I'm on the fence. Do I convert it to the newer Freon, or do I pay through the nose to go with the older stuff, the R12? But frankly, we don't use it that much on super hot days, so at this point, it's still a non-issue. Topped off with a couple gallons of Sunoco Ultra, the 94 octane stuff. Of course, at these prices, I only put a few gallons in because, frankly, we only drive the thing a little bit anyway. Got a couple bottles of trans fluid, so we're ready for the next Exxon Valdez moment. And got the T-tops back in. Did open it up a little bit on a straightaway, blow the cobwebs out, enjoy the muffled quadrajet 4-barrel roar briefly. And I think we're good to go for the 2026 spring and summer season. The aerial, the radio antenna, I leave that off. One, I don't have a hole cut in the cover for it, and two, I think only one of the 4 speakers is working at the moment, and the belt on the tape drive gave up the ghost last season. So until I fix those things, I don't see the point of putting the antenna back on. That way I can get the cover on and off the car in the garage here a little more easily. Well, there she is. Cheers.